Welcome back everybody to a brand new video. My name is Spartan Gamer and today I have a very special video for you today. I'm going to be showing you some Monster Hunter World gameplay, or not really. For this video it's not going to really be gameplay or a hunt. It's just going to be kind of an introduction into the game, some brief history and just a general feel for the game. And because unlike Horizon Zero Dawn, it's a bit more intense, and if I just jump into it hunting, you won't really understand. So this will just be quite a lengthy video, just getting into everything, a bit of history like I said, and I really hope you enjoy it. This game I absolutely love, and without waiting any longer, let's get into the introduction of Monster Hunter. I'd like to welcome you to Monster Hunter World and to Astera, the brilliant, beautifully designed game by Capcom, and this is the central hub, the main town of the game. Now, before we even get started, there's just so much to show you that I don't even know where to start, but I think I found a pretty good place to start with how I started playing this game, because this is not my first Monster Hunter. Let me just actually show you guys around a little bit, and while I talk about it. So I first picked up Monster Hunter while on PSP playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was going to be a God of War type game, a hack and slash like that, and I just couldn't be more wrong. It was absolutely amazing. It's its own category. There's nothing similar to Monster Hunter. There just isn't. And I fell in love with it, and I just haven't been able to get this game out of my mind. I love it. And then I progressed on to Monster Hunter. Yeah, the first one I played was Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, and then I started to play Monster Hunter Portable Third, and it kept getting better and better with each one. And then I played some other one on the Wii. I don't really remember. I played a little bit at a family friend's place, and I just can never get enough of this game. And if you notice here, my little companion, her name is Holly, and I'll get into her history with me through Monster Hunter in a brief second. But before all that, let me just show you around Astera, because this place is absolutely beautiful, as you've probably seen me walking around. All these NPCs here, they just do their own thing, but this guy sells me stuff that I need, or I can make it myself. Don't mind him, whatever he says, he's just rambling about other stuff. Now I can go and buy to my box, and then, so potions heal you up, antidotes if you get poisoned by certain monsters, Astera jerky negates like a bleeding effect, and then you get bombs, traps, or trap tools you use to make traps, and there's shock and pitfall, but I'll get to that in a brief second, and a whole bunch of other things. And my journey with Monster Hunter, I've absolutely fallen in love with it. But if we go and speak to these guys, they do, again, don't mind him, you can do like side, like they're called bounties, and you do side things while on main hunt. So like this one, it's slay 20 small monsters. So while you're hunting, if you see something that's just always there, you can just kill it, and then you get rewards for it. Like if you check at the bottom, it says research points, which you use to buy some like food and stuff, and Armosphere Plus is what you use to upgrade your armors, and we'll get into detailed armors and weapons when we progress further up into Astera. So yeah, that's what this guy does. And then if we just take a nice little run here, this guy here, field team leader, he's like the hunter leader kind of. I don't really know what his role is. This guy's the commander for any story orientated things, but for the purpose of my Monster Hunter videos, I will not be following the story, because I mean, I'd rather just do random hunts for you guys. It's more fun that way. That way you get to see a lot more. And then we take a look at this guy, the huntsman. This man is a complete badass. This guy let's just see what he'll say. If I talk to him, he really speaks very briefly, but he always sounds so powerful. Such a badass, honestly.
It's time.
I mean, just hear that. Look at that voice. This guy's, yeah, when I've seen him hunt once, and I just couldn't believe it. Where does this go? Okay, never mind. But yeah, that's Astera. And let me just head up here. Now you check all the way up there. That's like the gathering hub, that huge ship. It's when you play online, but I'm not. I prefer to hunt by myself. Yeah, I used to hunt with a friend, but nah. Now I prefer to do it alone. So let me show you this beautiful scenery, and then I can tell you more about a lot of other things, and we'll get higher up in a minute. So now, if you've noticed Holly here, she's my feline companion. She basically helps me, and she attacks. She does some passive moves to fight against the monsters, and I'll go into the types in a brief second. But Holly has been with me since my first Monster Hunter. You'd create your character, and then you'd have to get a cat. Back then they called them felines, now they have some other funny name. So I bought one, and it came already named, and it was Holly, and she was amazing. She would always be there. She wouldn't be afraid. If I was scared of a monster, she would not. She would dive in and just kill it. Going in powerful, learning amazing moves. And then when I progressed to portable third, everything was in Japanese except for like the important things, like the monster name or the item names. But my name, all I had was Japanese symbols, and I didn't know how to rename. And when I did, I renamed that cat Holly, in memory of the first Holly I had from Freedom Unite. And then with this one, having even more customization, like you can't see her fur now, but everything about her, from her eye color, her fur, ears, everything about her, minus the armor that she has, I designed. And of course, to pay homage to the first Holly and then the second Holly, I've named this one Holly because of that. She's my loyal companion. I absolutely love her. She's even more badass and powerful in this Monster Hunter than in any other Monster Hunter game that I have played. And now, so if we walk here, this is the smith, the blacksmith guy. He makes weapons and armor. Never mind what he says, he just rambles on. So like if I come here, forge palico equipment, which is what they call the cats. So the leather armor is what so that's what she looks like. She's absolutely cute, so gorgeous, and I'm proud of how she came out. I swear I've probably put more work into designing this cat companion of mine in Monster Hunter than any other creator character, apart from my character now. So this is the armor she starts out with, and if I wanted to make it, I'd need iron ore, and I've got plenty, but it's kind of trash. Now if you pay attention, kind of in the middle there, you'll check it says defense, fire, water. Now that's just its resistance. Now with her armor, all I look at is the raw defense, just that number, that 224. But the better armors you get, the higher that defense resistance. I'm not too worried about elemental resistance for her, because she's not really struck by elemental attacks. The monsters tend to focus on me instead. But let me show you the armors that I currently have for her. Actually, let's check a few of them. Just some of them are really, really ugly, so I don't get them. I prefer when I get her armor, I want to be able to see her face, her paws, and her legs. If I can't, I don't really get it. So the cutest one that I have for her is this one. I mean, it's just too cute. Let me just rotate her, and then that's her weapon. And it's got good thunder resistance, but again, that's not what I'm interested in for her. And then I've got, this is the one that she's currently wearing. Now I know I just said I wanted to see as much of her as possible, but the defense and the weapon attack for her is very good, so I decided to sacrifice that in her, for that. And then this is the ugliest armor for her. I mean, that's one of them. And where's that other disgusting one? I think it's this one. I mean, just look at this. It just I have too many questions for Capcom and the development team as to why they made such a gross armor. But I want to get her this one. This is the next armor she gets because it's got really good raw defensive capabilities. And to get these things, you have to hunt these monsters, which you'll see in the very next video, because this one's just an introduction so that you can understand the game, and because otherwise you really wouldn't understand much. But if we come here, forge equipment. Now let me go on to talking about weapons, my bad. There are 14 in this one, and you can see there's the great sword, which is just a really massive sword, slow but one of the strongest. Then you have a sword and shield, which is small sword, shield does a little bit of a defense. Hammer, just like a really big massive hammer, really big but fast for its size. Lance, think back to knighthood times where they would joust on the horses, exactly the same thing. Switch axe, it's this axe, this really big long axe, but if you click R2 it changes into a sword with really powerful attacks and explosive power. The insect glaive, which is what I'm using, it's a very good aerial weapon, and you got a bug, as you can probably see on my arm, that collects nectar almost from monsters, and then you get bonuses. You'll see once I really go and show you my weapon. And this is kind of what it looks like. It's just a blade like that, and yeah, then there's a heavy bowgun, which is like a machine gun cross a bowgun. Then there's the long sword, which is katanas. Honestly, they just look like katanas. Really good weapon. That's what I used in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. And then I used in Portable Third, I was using the switch axe, and now in Monster Hunter World I'm using the insect glaive. Dual swords, two short swords. It does minimal damage, but it's fast, a really fast weapon that's kind of rapid, so its damage is weak, but before its speed it kind of makes up for that. Hunting horn, it's like a bagpipe or a horn or a bell, and you would do a certain attack, like say you do triangle, circle, triangle. Those three attacks will play a certain note, and that will give you a certain boost, like an attack boost or a health boost or a defensive boost. And so that's what it's used for. It's mainly a support weapon, but it does some really good damage. Gun lance, similar to the standard lance, except it kind of shoots bullets and kind of also has this really powerful attack at the end, like its super attack is really good. Charge blade, newest addition to the Monster Hunter franchise, starts off like a sword and shield, but then it changes into an axe, I believe. I've never used it. They say it's very hard for beginners. It's one of those people that have mastered Monster Hunter World will better use this. Light bowgun, very similar to the heavy bowgun, except it doesn't fire certain weapons. Its damage is lower, but it has higher mobility. The heavy bowgun, you kind of slow, but has a lot more power. And then the bow, which they say is actually the best weapon for the game, you can add power coatings and stuff to do certain attacks, great medium distance, and it has a melee attack. But let me just show you what they look like quickly. It's kind of obvious if you can pay attention there. I'm not going to be going into insane depth about each weapon. I don't know enough about each of these things to do, and even then some people have dedicated 30-minute videos on one weapon alone. Now I will leave a link in the description for you to check one of the channels out. This guy goes into insane depths about each weapon, and I highly recommend. It was a great help for me when I first started to play this game, to choose a weapon, and I think it will give you a bit more insight into the weapons and how they work. So I recommend checking that out. I will leave the link in the description. It will be the first one. Please check it out if you don't understand, if you want actually more information on the weapons. So now I'm just paging through to show you what the weapons look like. I'm not going to spend too long going on and on about it, but I will show you in a minute. So as you can see, long swords, basically they look like katanas, and if you check, it'll say required materials, it'll say whatever. Each weapon will require certain things. And while I'm here, just take note of, let's go to this weapon. Its attack is 330. It's just a number of how good its attack is. You want it the higher the better. Then if you pay attention to sharpness, red sharpness is very bad. Your weapon is basically useless. It becomes blunt. Orange as well, useless. Yellow, you don't want to be any in those colors in that spectrum. Green is very good, and you can see it's a little bit of green for this weapon. So if it goes below green, you take a whetstone, you sharpen it, and it goes back. Then after green, it becomes blue sharpness, which is very good. And after blue, we get white sharpness. And the more you level up a weapon, the better the sharpness. And now you check, it says element dragon. Certain monsters are weak to certain elements. We've got fire, water, ice, thunder, and dragon. And then monsters will have a standard weakness and a bonus weakness. Now most of the time I'm attacking a monster what it's really weak to, so it's bonus damage and weakness to that. So as you can see, this one is a dragon elemental. It has 270 Elder Seal. I don't really know about that, I'm still learning. But that's, let me check. He's check great sword. It's just a very big sword, very weak, I mean very slow, but very powerful. But personally I don't recommend using that weapon. I'd rather go for something fast, because if you're hunting alone, let's check sword and shield. Like if you're hunting alone, you want a weapon that's going to be insanely fast, because otherwise that monster is targeting you. But if you're hunting with a team, no problem, then try using that. The hammer, it's very big, very fast, and very powerful. Definitely a good weapon to try using. Lance, there we go. Nothing special about it. It has the best defense of all the weapons. Though switch axe, you can see this is what it looks like in its axe form. You'd have to go and check that video to see what it looks like in its sword form. I've shown you the insect glaive and the heavy bowgun. It has to unfold. When he packs it away, it like snaps into its full form, and then you can attack, which makes it very slow. Now if we just take a look at armors quickly, my character started out with this leather armor and the chainmail armor. Now just pay a little bit of attention to the bottom right. This armor had only 11 defense, absolutely trash, but it's the first armor that you start with. And as you can see, this armor has 10 fire resistance, but everything else is 0. Now you get elemental resistance if the number is in the 10s. So if it's between 0 and 9, you are not going to get any resistance to that element, because some monsters have elemental attacks. But as soon as it hits in a numeral of 10, you will get that resistance, which is the minimal that you can get. It keeps climbing with better armors, more monsters that are, say you fight a stronger fire elemental monster, then that armor will have a higher fire resistance. So if we check, I have this bone armor, which started off with 31. Let me pop it on. So that's what it looks like. It starts with 31 defense. It has fire resistance, thunder, and dragon resistance. And now, remember, we spoke in the beginning about armor spheres. You can use armor spheres to level up your armors to push that raw defense up. It doesn't change the elemental resistance, just that raw defense against a physical attack, not an elemental one. So like if a monster hits you with its tail or with its horns or whatever. So let's just check some of these armors. I didn't like them. And it also, for me, I'm choosing based on how good its defense is, as well as its elemental resistance. So let me show you the ones that I have. This one started off with 81, but it has amazing thunder resistance. But as you can see, it has negative 15 water resistance. So if I were to fight a monster that has a water element attack, I will take a lot of damage. But that also is an indication of what that monster is weak to. So like this armor was made from a monster called a Tobi Kadachi, which is basically like a thunder fox, and you'll see it as we're playing through and I do hunts, you'll see it. So it has bonus damage to the water element, so you get a water elemental weapon and you take it on with that. Then I went and got this Hornet Armor, which is absolutely great. Its defense is 91. Now I've upgraded it slightly so it's within the hundreds, and it's got great dragon resistance. Then I have the Anjanath Armor. As you can see, it's in the 20s, so it's got a good fire resistance and raw defense of 100, and I've still leveled it up further. Then I got the Lagina Armor, which is what you've seen me walk around with, which is raw defense of 151, but it has both ice and water resistance in a numeral of 10, which is amazing. To have a dual elemental resistant armor is great. So until I can get a really strong armor with high water resistance, this is what I use. I plan on getting the Rathalos Armor, which has great raw defense and fire resistance. This will replace the Anjanath Armor, and I know the names are foreign to you at the moment, but you'll see, we'll get into hunts and you'll definitely understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's it for the armors, and this is where you can upgrade them. You buy her stuff. And now, so as I mentioned about monsters and stuff, there are, I believe there's 5 types. Now I'm not going to go into in depth about that, you will see them as we go. So there's bird monsters, which are kind of like birds. Basically they remind you of like pterodactyls, maybe like a chicken type of thing. So there's bird monsters. Then we have brute monsters, which are kind of big and hulking and really strong. They use a lot of their body attacks. They don't use much elementals, but there are a few of them. Then we have fanged wyverns, which are kind of more like leopards or cheetahs. Really big fangs and claws, and they use that to their advantage. They're really fast and agile and really fun to hunt. So let's get a nice view while I continue to talk about these, and there's a lot of them. Then we have flying monsters, which not necessarily means that they fly, because I have seen some that don't really fly. They have wings is basically what it is. They have wings, but they don't fly necessarily, as long as they'll fly occasionally. Then the last class, I believe, second last one is Piscine monsters, which are fish. Glorified fish, big, dangerous, and they love to use their elemental abilities. Then we have elder dragons, which are basically the big bads of the game. That's all they are. They just rare and really strong monsters. Like you need great equipment, and that's where mostly dragon elemental weapons are going to be used against them. But yeah, so this lady here is where I come to do my quest. She's kind of like, as she's my handler, she manages all the tasks. And this guy over here is the chef. Now let me just show you. You pay with points. Like I ordered this chef's choice platter. As you can see, I get plus 30 health, plus 25 stamina, and Holly will get plus 12 health. Plus I'll get a defense up small because I'm using 2 fish as it requires there. And so if I go, okay, buy this, order it, and just watch. I mean, that food just looks great. So there's my character with his helmet off. There we go. Got the skills. Now my mom always jokes saying that she wishes she could have cats like this for here at home, because I mean they cook so fast. But let me just show you. There's a lot of areas. So these are the hunting areas. There's the ancient forest, which is really like it says, it's a forest. It's quite a big map, cool, multiple layers of trees and stuff. Then we have the Wildspire Waste, which is a mix of swamp and desert. Then there's the Rotten Vale, which is this gross, massive graveyard where the monsters go to die, and then their bioenergy that their bodies release feeds off into these other areas, which makes them grow and look beautiful. Then there's the Coral Highlands, which, imagine a coral reef in a beautiful lagoon, water, fish everywhere, but take away the water and the fish, and you just leave corals and all these beautiful aquatic plants. And that's what the Coral Highlands is all of that beauty without the fish and water. And you will see these environments while we do a hunt, because the next video I will go and hunt something, and I want to show you each individual place. And now I know that there's still 2 more areas that need to be shown. I haven't progressed enough. There's one which seems to be like a volcano area, and one like a really dark, dingy looking place. Now, the evolution of these maps versus the previous ones in other Monster Hunters is that this one is just one solid map. It's just fluid. If you want to go to the trees, you just go there. You just keep walking. Whereas in the other ones, if you wanted to go to another zone, because you'll check, there's sometimes numbers and stuff, they just zone it. Like say I wanted to go from zone 1 to zone 2 in the PSP versions, you'd walk through a corridor and then there'd be a loading screen. Whereas this map, you just keep walking. It's just one massive map. Nothing changes. So now let me just show you, let me go to my room, and then I can go to the training area and I can show you how my weapon works. So like I said, if you want to know more about the weapons, please check the link in the description. Now this is my room. This is just pets and stuff where they're just here for decoration basically. And then this is my housekeeper, where I can just manage my room. Don't worry what they're saying. So if I go to training area, I just want to show you my weapon, because it's the one you're going to be seeing only. You're not going to see any others when I'm busy hunting, because I've mastered this one. Well, I'm not really mastered, but I have a good hang of it. So I pull it out. Cool, that's what it looks like. Now I can just do, this is just an all triangle combo, this is an all circle combo, and all that. But this weapon has great aerial attack. So like I click R2 and X, he vaults into the sky. If I click X while in the air, I can dodge. But if I jump X, triangle, he slams down. I do that with circle, he leaps forward, slashes. Now my bug, if you pay attention, you can see there's a green bar, which is my health, a yellow bar, which is my stamina. The green knife is the weapon sharpness, and then you can see that there's the bug and the 1, 2, 3 thing there. With that yellow bar underneath is the bug stamina. So now I can send it to a part of the monster, assuming this barrel is it. I send it, it gives me orange. I call it, it glows, and I get that ability. So now I can go, and it doesn't change much. I think this one gives him a defensive boost, orange. So if I attack there, that's still orange. If we send it there, that's white. I get that, and it allows me to do, again, I think this is a stamina boost. Again, I'm not really sure. I just know that it does a lot for me. So please check that video for more clarification on that. I send it there, it's red, I get all the skills. Now watch what happens. If I go, I click circle, he does an advanced slash like that. If I do it with triangle, he flips and does that. But now pay attention when I do the circle attack on this thing. If it connects, he will stay in the air. He'll flip himself back up, and you can do this attack 4 times. and then I have to bring it down. So yeah, that's how this weapon works. You'll see me in the air a lot. My circle attacks for this weapon are the strongest ones. So now if we come here, you'll check, most of the time, like here, stones, he'll load this up onto his wrist there, like that little catapult. Now you can sometimes find bombs, like little weak bombs or things like that, to shoot at the monsters, to drop some stuff on. Now if you see this little thing, like check, I can shoot the stones. Like there's a bomb there, shoot it, ignites the bomb, and it should blow up, boom. But now these things, they're called Wedge Beetles, and check what happens. You can use them to swing around the map. That's what's great about this one. It's a full 3D, one solid map, which is great. And then you can find these vans and swing on the monster, and then you can leap up and slash down like that. So it's really cool. And then let me show you guys something. I recently discovered this. So I leap in, whoops, I can go here. Why is he not doing it? As you can check, he's sticking his sword into this climbable wall, so he can move more without being limited to putting away the weapon. And I've just discovered this. So yeah, that's it. Now check, you'll see these, and they can just climb up here, get around and hide around the monsters. And just, if you'll check there at the bottom right, potions heal up, rations restore stamina. Let me take it. Stamina climbs. Net is used to catch fish, so is the fishing rod. Whetstone, like I said, restores sharpness. Nullberries remove an elemental blight, which is like if an ice monster shoots ice at you, it will have a certain effect on you. You take that, it removes the effect. Max Potion restores your health after you've been killed. And now you can die 3 times before the quest fails. Dung Bombs, you shoot them onto the monster and the monster runs away from you. Shock Traps, yeah, that's another thing I need to talk about. You'll see me most of the time, I will be trapping monsters in a trap, and then I throw trank bombs on them, and that knocks the monster out, which gets me more materials at the end of the quest. It ends the quest faster and you get more materials. It's always better to trap rather than kill the monster, because it's a lot faster and you get good stuff. The Ghillie Mantle, if I put it on, to the monster, I am totally invisible now. Even if I'm walking like na in front of it, it will not see me. And there's a lot of other mantles which you'll see as we do hunts. Well Done Steak restores stamina, a lot better than rations. Flash Pod, it's a flashbang. You shoot at the monsters, blinded for a couple. Bombs, you place it down, blow it up, does insane damage to the monster. And I think that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gives you a bit more insight into Monster Hunter and the game. And I promise that you will not have to wait long to see an actual hunt. It will come a day after this video is released. I promise you that. So that's it. That's all really I have much to tell you. That's everything that you need to know. A lot of the stuff you will start to understand the more you watch me play. And I just really hope that this game, that you fall in love with the game as much as I have, and continue to support my channel. And that, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are a bit more insightful into the game. But that's all I have for you today. My name is Spartan Gamer, and I'll see you in a hunt in the next video. Bye bye everybody.